Remember, this video will find you when it's time for everything to unfold for you. If you are watching now, it is because something significant has already begun to move behind the scenes of your life. The truth we are about to explore is the opposite of what you have been taught. You do not manifest your deepest desires by chasing them, but by letting them go. The less you need the desire, the faster it arrives, because the universe responds not to your anxious request, but to your silent certainty.
To understand this, we must first embrace the principle of the reality mirror. Your outer world is a direct reflection of your inner state. If your dominant feeling is one of lack or absence, the mirror of reality can only reflect back the evidence of that absence. The very act of chasing a desire is a powerful declaration to the universe that you do not yet have it. Your pursuit broadcasts the very frequency of its absence, and reality, in its perfect obedience, mirrors that broadcast flawlessly. I remember a time when I was waiting for an important outcome. I found myself constantly checking for signs, much like checking one's mobile phone, waiting for a call that has not yet arrived. Each time I checked and saw nothing, the feeling of emptiness, of lack, was amplified within me. The change came only when I decided to stop checking and instead to begin acting as if the call had already been confirmed and everything was on its way. The shift must happen inside first, before it can be reflected outside. This is a truth echoed in the work of Gregg Braden. It is about living as if your desire is already a reality. Imagine you have entered a destination into your car's GPS. The route has been calculated. You do not need to constantly stop and re-enter the address. Your only work is to trust the journey, knowing that the destination is assured. But this state of trust often feels at odds with a lifetime of being told that effort is the key to success. So what happens when the very act of trying, the very force we believe will save us, becomes the subtle resistance that postpones our unfolding? That is the paradox we must now explore. There is a common trap we fall into, a deeply ingrained belief from the material world that more effort will equal a faster result. We push harder, we try to control every variable, we fill our days with anxious action, believing that our struggle is a measure of our devotion to the outcome. But on the level of energetic manifestation, this state of anxiety and control is a powerful signal of lack, a declaration of distrust in the process itself. Like trying to hold water in your hands, the more you tightly clench your fists to keep it, the more it slips away. A desire is like a river, it needs space to flow into your life. Our interference, our need to control and manage its path, creates emotional dams that block its natural current. You may have noticed this in your own life. Forcing a meeting or pushing for a negotiation often closes doors, while stepping back and creating space often allows the other person to come to you willingly in their own time.
Detachment, then, must not be mistaken for disinterest or apathy. It is a state of profound vibrational intelligence. But how do we practice this trust without feeling like we are simply pretending? How do we water the seed without digging it up every day? This is the art of non-interference. The ancient traditions understood this art of non-interference through the simple metaphor of agriculture. You plant the seed, and then you trust the process. You do not dig up the seed every day to check if it has grown, for that act of distrust would destroy the very creation you hope for. The correct conduct is to water the soil with your faith and trust in the fertile ground of the universe, practicing a sacred patience. Here we must distinguish between true detachment and merely pretending to let go. To pretend is to release a balloon into the air while still holding tightly to the string with a closed fist. True detachment has a distinct physical sensation. It is a feeling of relief, of a silent weight being lifted from your shoulders, a palpable release in your body. This connects directly to the teachings of Neville Goddard, who spoke of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is not a mental trick to fool the universe, but a genuine state of being you enter for your own peace. When you truly embody this state, the anxious waiting ceases. It is replaced by a calm confidence, a quiet knowing that your gift is already on its way.
But what happens during that quiet interval, after you have planted the seed and before the first sprout appears? What is that silent space for, and how do we navigate it when the world has not yet shown us any proof? This brings us to the quiet interval, the sacred pause after you have planted the seed and before the first sprout appears. It is the silent test. During this time, life seems to observe, waiting to see if your new state of being has truly stabilized. It is as if the field is gently asking you, show me that you can embody this new reality consistently, and then I will mirror it back to you. The greatest risk during this period is to begin looking for external proof that the process is working. The act of searching for evidence immediately reactivates the old signal of lack and doubt, communicating to the field that your trust was conditional. The correct practice is to treat this quiet interval as a natural and necessary part of creation, a gestational period where the most important work is happening unseen. It is during this quiet time that you will often begin to notice subtle signs. Small synchronicities and meaningful coincidences will appear, not as loud announcements, but as gentle whispers from the universe, confirming that you are close. But even before these small external signs, there is a much deeper and more powerful signal that confirms your alignment is complete. It is the one true indicator that always arrives before the physical proof. What is this signal? It is peace. Before any visible change appears in your external world, there is an advance indicator that arrives first. A profound sense of peace and serenity that settles over you even while your circumstances remain unchanged. It is the key signal that arrives before the physical evidence, a quiet internal confirmation that the creative forces are in motion. I recall moments in my own journey where I was suddenly overcome with an unshakable feeling that a certain situation was already resolved, long before any tangible proof appeared. It was shortly after this feeling of inner peace stabilized that a cascade of coincidences would begin to unfold, unexpected invitations, timely messages, and doors opening effortlessly, where before there were only walls. This peace must not be mistaken for apathy or resignation. It is a state of deep and powerful presence. When you enter this state, the frantic anxiety about when your desire will arrive simply dissolves. By removing your emotional and energetic resistance, the entire process accelerates, as if you have finally stopped rowing against the current and have turned your boat to sail with the wind at your back. This peace is not an accident. It is the natural result of true alignment. But how do we anchor ourselves in this state day after day, creating the constancy that allows the unfolding to complete its journey to us? To sustain this state of peaceful detachment, We can anchor ourselves with gentle daily practices that strengthen our trust. The first is a daily act of faith, an intimate affirmation spoken not with need, but with quiet conviction. It is already mine. This is not about chasing proof. It is about creating a stable vibrational anchor that holds you steady in your new state of being. The second practice is the conscious redirection of your attention. When you notice your mind beginning to search for signs, you can gently shift your focus to something that brings you a sense of simple, present moment pleasure. Cooking a meal, taking a walk, listening to music, or caring for a plant. This allows your energetic field to rest. It is the wisdom of not opening the oven door while the cake is still baking. A third practice is the reality script, a form of journaling where you write as if you are already living your desired reality. Describe the feelings, the dialogues, the sensory details of this new life. This gives your body and mind the experience of the new reality, making it easier to sustain the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The goal is for detachment to cease being a conscious effort and to become your natural way of being until the result appears as if it had always been there. The invitation of this message arriving to you at this specific time is to make a profound turn in your approach to life, to stop chasing and to begin allowing. As an immediate exercise, you might choose one of these micro practices today and simply observe the feeling of lightness and the speed of the alignments that begin to appear in your reality. If this journey has resonated with a truth within you, affirm your readiness by commenting below with the words, "I receive in perfect timing." You may also feel called to share this message with someone you know who may be feeling anxious about an outcome, as a gentle reminder to trust the process. And to continue this journey of learning and remembrance, we invite you to subscribe to our channel and activate your notifications, ensuring the continuity of this shared exploration.